Welcome to the Fighting on Film podcast, the podcast all about classic and obscure war movies, from the Normandy landings to the days of chivalry and swords. If it's been captured on film, we're going to try and cover it. I'm Robbie of RM Military History.
I'm Matthew Moss of Historical Firearms and the Armourer's Bench. Hello and welcome back to Fighting on Film. This week we bring you Land of Bad. It's a Special Forces meets Behind Enemy Lines meets Prisoner of War.
Extraction genre.
Extraction subgenre. And it's one of those films that have had a limited release and then appeared online. But before we get into that, I just wanted to thank everyone on Bermuda who has been listening to the pod, because this week Rob and I found out that we are actually the 43rd best film pod on Bermuda.
Oh, I know. Hello to all the Bermudians out there.
Yeah, big up to them. Very much appreciated.
Yeah.
A little bit of housekeeping. Please do check out warfaremedia.net. We are currently partnered with them, and you can get a rather good discount, I think, of 20% if you use the code FOF20 at checkout. They have a huge plethora of really cool military and more specifically Cold War themed posters, which are made up of original ads from the period, posters, recruitment posters, bits from training manuals, all kinds of really cool stuff. Definitely do go and check them out. So before we move on to Land of Bad, we're going to go with Rob's large question.
Rob's large question. And if anyone wants to sponsor the large question, I'm well up for that.
Oh my God, can someone please sponsor Rob's large question?
Yes, please sponsor the large question.
We are open to renaming it Rob's big one as well, if needed.
So this week's large question is: you have a decent budget to remake a pre-2000 war film. What is it and why? And we had quite a good response from the listenership over on Twitter. Please check us out on there if you are not yet following. Lots of war movie fun and frolics. So starting off, we have Kevin Getz, who goes with Midway, because the current updated version is hot garbage and tries to do too much. And enough of the CGI violation of physics flying. The 70s film lost me when I saw Tora clips in it. I kind of agree on that one.
Yeah. The Tora clips do pull you out of Midway. Although it's both of those films have merits, but they do have, things that distract.
I admire what the newer one was trying to do. Because in my response,
but I don't think they deserve a remake though. Going to disagree with Kevin there.
Ooh.
They've just had one. They don't need another one.
Controversial.
Let other films have remakes.
Getz Industries can make what Getz Industries wants.
True, that's true. But he should really be focusing on that film about Operation Dead Stick.
Yeah, but that's a tricky second film, isn't it? So Tom McCall goes with a bit of heresy, because I love David Niven, but I'd go for the Sea Wolves and ditch the 1970s outfits. Totally agree on that.
I would use AI to recreate the entire film using the original cast. Just remove the 70s outfits.
I said a decent budget. I didn't say a studio killing budget, man. So Tom added to this, because I quite liked it, so I'm going to read it in full. He put starring role would have to go to Gary Oldman, but I would definitely want Hopkins and Ian McKellen up front with the boarding party. Maybe influenced by watching a bit too much Gavin and Stacey, but I want Larry Lamb in it and Ian McNeice as one of the old boys at the club, which I really liked. And then I said yes, but we need Patrick Stewart in the Niven role at the start too.
Oof. Yeah.
I think that would be very good.
Yeah. That would be that. Malcolm McDowell as well.
Yes. Marcus Cribb goes with Battle of the Bulge, so we can have German tanks that look German. Also, some trees in the Ardennes forest wouldn't go amiss. Totally agree there.
Some actual snow would be nice.
Yeah. Jake says, A Hill in Korea. The Korean War deserves at least one big budget film. Remake would be based on the Gloucester's Last Man Stand against the Chinese. I mean, who wouldn't want an Indian film?
Yeah, I know.
It's the
fact that hasn't been made.
Yeah.
Even by a relatively small studio is shocking.
it would be
Missed
easier to do than you
opportunities as
think.
well for the anniversary.
Massively so.
And never
Yeah,
forgive them for that one.
I know, right? Bill 1940 medal campaign goes with the longest day. But I'd cast age appropriate actors. I'm looking at you, John Wayne, and make sure the Canadians are in it this time. Another one. Agree with that? Yeah,
Age appropriate actors in film roles. It's never going to happen.
that's a big
It's definitely
ask.
not happening this week. But anyway,
That's a big ask. Paul Burns goes with Hunt for Red October. Do like a sub movie and maybe use someone who can speak Russian for the lead role.
Hmm.
Yeah. Rodri Morgan Smith says The Big Red One. Great premise, but really obviously filmed on a low budget. Disclaimer: I haven't seen the reconstruction version, but no, I
yeah.
agree.
Will Fuller wanted he wanted the budget. You know, he spent years trying to get
Famously
it off the
couldn't get
ground,
it.
didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll have one last one before we do our own. And we'll have Hibernian Scholar goes with When Trumpets Fade. It was a TV movie about the Battle of Hurtgen Forest and before the Battle of the Bulge. Always liked it. I agree on that one.
Well,
I
we've done it
think
on the pod.
it's good, but it's not. As the advert says, it's good, but it's not quite Carling. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
like it's
I,
almost there.
we said pretty much that on the show when we did it. I think it must be 2 years ago now.
Yeah, it was summer
If you're a
2 years
new
ago.
listener in Bermuda, head back and check that one out.
Yeah, I think
That's a good episode.
we did the Hurtgen Forest film because it was boiling hot. We had a heat wave, didn't we? We thought if we do a movie
Yeah,
with cold in it, it might cool us down.
yeah. Well, we couldn't do Battle of the Bulge because
No,
there's no snow in that.
no, famously no snow. Yeah. So Matt, what's your remake? What's Moss Inc. gonna make?
Moss Inc. is proud to launch Nine Men 2025,
Amazing. We
where
love to
we
hear it.
where we return to that beach in Wales and we film the exact film, scene for scene,
What's a shot for shot remake? Is it?
shot for shot remake, more or less. We'll include some more interesting bits and
Mm.
bobs, and we'll give it a bit more scale, but we won't go too
Ooh.
far.
Can we have the Scottish chap from Line of Duty playing the sergeant?
Oh yeah, he'd be good. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Because I would say you could probably try and get in Peter Capaldi in there too.
As what?
There's Bagger Hill.
Really? Is he not too old?
Well, there's the old chap in there. There is that old chap.
Well, I suppose he is. Yeah, Bagger's a little bit. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Peter's not too old.
Who's
Yep.
playing the lad? Who's playing
Who's playing the lad? It's
Thingy's
gonna be
role?
Harry Styles.
Oh, okay. Getting the
We're, go-
youngsters in.
we're gonna we're gonna blow most of the budget on getting him acting lessons. Just getting him up to standard, and then
Oh my God. Okay.
and then
I like it. I
and
like
then
it
we'll have
already.
Stephen Graham as the guy that had the boys anti-tank rifle.
Oh God, yes, please. Oh, I'd love to
Yeah, I
see
thought you'd
that.
like that. Yeah.
That'd be sweet. Yeah, no, I love it. I
What
love
about
it.
you?
Mine is people might have seen on Twitter, but I said I would remake Went the Day Well and replace the setting to the late 70s or early 80s and have it as a Soviet Spetsnaz infiltration of a cozy British village.
Yeah, but that's not a remake. That's a reimagining.
Yeah, but it's a remake still.
Okay,
You can blur it a bit.
technicalities. All right.
Yeah, because it's an adaptation.
Yeah.
So
Fair.
I've said Home Service Force arrive to save the day. A commandeered Bedford RL must be blown up by by a law anti-tank launcher, and Helen Mirren to dispatch a solvent axe and a splash of pepper.
Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah,
She takes a hand grenade into the pantry. Yeah, I like it.
yeah, but it's a Soviet, one of those little egg ones they had.
Yeah, it's one of the RDG5 too. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're uncovered where one writes in acrylic by mistake, and they go, "That's not the Queen's English. That's some funny.
Cyrillic, that is.
That's some
Look at them
funny.
squiggly letters he's written.
That A's got an extra bit at the top. That's not
Someone
right."
better call the home service force. It's quick.
Well, I thought something was queer when he said his name was Artyom, and I thought that's not a British name.
Yes. Perfect. And it happens on the weekend of the FA Cup final.
Oh, please. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Keegan has
I'll
scored.
let you pick whichever year you want to set that on.
Oh, God. I had no idea off the top of my head. Whatever the one Coventry are in, because that's nice and nostalgic. Because there's beautiful Admiral kits with the stripes. Don't get me started. Right. Anyway, on to Land of Bad, and I am on cast this week. So without further ado, first up we have Liam Hemsworth as Sergeant J.J. Kenny. He's brother to Chris Thor Hemsworth and fellow cast member Luke Hemsworth. So it's a bit of a family affair, this one. His credits include The Expendables 2, Love and Honor, Independence Day Resurgence, and The Duel. Then we have Luke Hemsworth. He was in Thor Ragnarok and Thor Love and Thunder. Next Goal Wins, and I think he's probably best known for playing Ashley Stubbs on Westworld.
Yes. Not bad enough.
Not bad at all, no. No, they're all... This is the thing about this cast. They're all very competent actors.
Yeah, that's very
There's nothing
fair.
wrong with the cast at all here. Then we have, the big budget name. In a movie like this, in a lower budget, limited release streaming movie, you always get a big name in. And boy golly, did they get a big name. They got Russel Crowe to play Captain Eddie Grimm, call sign Reaper. He's the movie's like drone operator. He's their eye in the sky. He's obviously an Oscar and BAFTA winning New Zealand born actor. Started his career in the 1990 POW film Blood Oath. Other credits include Romper Stomper, Gladiator, LA Confidential, Cinderella Man, Proof of Life, which I think he plays an ex-SAS operator in that.
Does he?
Yeah,
I haven't seen that one.
It's the movie where the two people get kidnapped and then this man hires someone to go and get them out. And I think Russell Crowe plays like an ex-SAS.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Isn't he like a negotiator type sort?
Yeah, like SASR guy.
Yeah.
And he was also in The Water Diviner and a couple of years ago, the Vietnam War film, The Greatest Beer Run Ever. I read a review that said Crowe seems to be in his character acting era. And I think he's really knocking out the park. He's due to play Hermann Goering in an upcoming Nuremberg film.
Yeah.
And if you've seen the pictures of that, he looked pretty convincing, I've got to admit. So we look forward to that one.
You missed out Master and Commander.
Of course, Master and Commander. I knew there was something. Only seen that film once, actually.
Oh.
I didn't drop that on the show. And then we have Ricky Whittle as Sergeant Bishop. He's the team's sniper. He's a Mancunian actor who started his career in the Sky football drama Dream Team, and that is the only time we are ever going to be able to mention that goated show on the pod.
Your absolute faves.
Oh, I love it. Harchester United forever. And then he was,
Awful.
Exactly. He was also in the Channel 4 soap Hollyoaks. That might be the only mention of the Hollyoaks ever gets on the show.
Okay.
And then he sort of lately has branched out into American TV roles. And he's been in The 100, Mistresses, and most recently had quite a prominent role in American Gods. So he's doing very well.
Fair play to his agent, like knocking out the park for him there.
I know, right? Yeah,
Going from Dream Team to US TV. Wow.
Yeah. Amazing. Then we have Milo Ventimiglia. He plays Master Sergeant John Sugar Sweet. He's been in That's My Boy, Killing Season, Creed 2, but his TV roles are quite prominent. He was Jess in Gilmore Girls. It's one of oh crikey, I watched all of Gilmore Girls at Revelations on the show this week, and I can't remember the guy's name, but he plays one of the boyfriends of the lead girl. Then he was Peter in Heroes. Did you see Heroes?
No.
I didn't see Heroes, no.
I know it was a big thing at the time.
Big thing. Believe. And he also has done a little bit of work for Marvel as the voice of Wolverine in the Marvel animes, Blade, Wolverine, and Iron Man in the 2010s. So that's quite something. Then we have Chika Ikogwi, I hope I'm saying that right, as Staff Sergeant Nia Branson. She's Crowe's Reaper's sort of partner,
co-pilot,
colleague, co-pilot. She's an Australian actress. She's been in a few roles of late, but she's quite a new on the scene, so she only has a few credits under her belt. She was in Mickey versus the World, The Tourist, and Godzilla versus Kong: The New Empire. And then kind of rounding out the cast, because there aren't, apart from the Delta team and Crowe and Chica, there aren't many other people really in it of prominent note. So we have Robert Rabia as Shahid Hashimi. He's leader of the Abu Sayyaf rebels, the movie's main antagonist, the big bad. He's an Australian actor. He was in Chopper, the cult Australian movie. He was in On the Beach, but his TV roles are a lot more sort of war movie related with Tomorrow When the War Began, Deadline Gallipoli, and of course the Australian soap Neighbours.
That's a real war movie right there.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
When good become good friends, or wherever it went. It's that show where you'd always watch it if you're off sick. Neighbours.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I stopped watching it when Harold drowned or like faked his own death or something.
Oh, Matt couldn't cope. Matt couldn't cope.
Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it anymore.
No, so yeah,
Or
and that's
when the doctor was having an affair. What are you
yeah.
doing that to your wife,
I know,
Kennedy?
right?
What are you doing?
Revelations on
I
Neighbours
know.
every week.
He's still in that. He was on
Yeah.
Last Leg talking about being on it when it was
Oh my
getting
God.
relaunched. Yeah.
Fair play.
Anyway,
Got to get
so
that Neighbours back.
random
Anyway,
tangent.
yeah. So as with these kind of behind enemy linesy, we're we need someone to get us out kind of movies. There is sort of a small cast anyway. I kind of like
Yeah.
Bat 21, where
Oh
there aren't
God,
that many
yeah.
major players. But I think everyone's very competent. I think they work with what they've got. But we'll talk more about that as we go along. So Matt, production this week. Then we've got the one word reviews and the review segment.
So the film was filmed in September, November 2022. Principal photography being undertaken on the Gold Coast in Queensland, Australia. And the prominent dam that features is the Hinds Dam, and that's in Advancetown, Australia.
Okay, so that maybe might work. Well, there's a lot of Aussie actors in this then.
It is, and it seems to have been a very. There's only one American actor in this, I think, and then the rest are either British or Australian, as you said.
Yes.
So it feels like it was a very Australian sort of like led picture. Although the director and the screenwriter were both American. The film was directed by William Eubank, who's a director, screenwriter, and perhaps best known as being a cinematographer. He's done 3 films previously, 3 or 4, which include Love and The Signal. They're both sci-fi films, and then more recently Underwater, which was a horror piece. It was written by Eubank and David Frigiero, who is an American screenwriter and producer, and he's worked with Eubank previously on The Signal, and he's done a number of other small films and some TV stuff. Interestingly, I found that both the writer and the director they shadowed a real JTAC for 2 weeks.
Wow, okay.
Um,
Right.
Although that was after they'd written the script, so I'm assuming they kind of did the shadowing and then made tweaks afterwards to
Tinkered.
get some more
Second draft.
bits and bobs in. Yeah. The film was actually originally going to be titled JTAC after JTAC. JTAC meaning Joint Terminal Attack Controller, which is something that the US military introduced in the early 2000s, and it's essentially forward air control, that kind of thing. But it's it's more satellite stuff and drone feeds.
I think
and all
Land
that
of
kind
Bad is better, but it's not perfect. There's definitely a better
Yeah,
title for this movie.
I mean, it's literally like I think it's Bishop that like holds up his forearms and he's got Land of Bad written on them.
Yeah,
And
but it's
yeah, yeah. We'll talk a little bit more about that scene later on because that's the most cerebral part of the film, I think, that conversation they have.
so. Oh, about like human warfare and all that. Human
Yeah,
element
yeah,
of warfare.
and
Yeah,
technology
yeah.
coming into war.
Yeah.
Cinematography was by Augustin Clarimont, who's a cinematographer from Uruguay, and he has a handful of credits, but he's clearly very competent. Because I think the film's actually really quite well shot in terms of depth and getting a lot of dynamics into it, and some of the interesting camera angles that they use, and it's clearly a dynamic film, and there's lots of tracking shots and overheads, and there's lots of really good night fights, I would say. Like
Not bad.
the night
Everything's
firefight
competent
was
here.
quite good.
Yeah, everything's okay,
The score was provided by Brandon Roberts, who's worked on a lot of TV, film, and games. He did the orchestration for Battlestar Galactica. He worked on World War Z, Logan, A Quiet Place 2, and that Fear Street show that was out a couple of years ago as well. Then we've got a couple of mentions for advisors and stunts. Mick Van Morsel provided the stunt double for Russell Crowe. He had a very easy job because I don't believe Russell Crowe did any
What
stunts
did he
in
need
this
stunt
film.
man?
Maybe it was a stunt driver. I don't
Pushing
know
that-
when he was doing
pushing
that
that
fast
trot-
driver.
Pushing
And
that
he-
cart later in the film was just terrible on his back, you know.
when he
Oh,
when he ran through that door. That was a big stunt.
after Gladiator, oh, don't bloody run anymore. You're gonna have to get someone in.
We got Paul
Beck's
Cale.
gone. My Beck's gone again.
The knees, lads. We got Paul Cale as the military advisor. This is his first film credit. He's a serving member of the Australian Army at the moment, and he's a veteran with the 1st Commando Regiment and the 2nd Commando Regiment when it was formed, and he did 5 deployments in Afghanistan and Iraq. So he's a special operator background, which is handy for the film because he'll probably work with Delta at some point. We have Michael Spearings, who is the consultant in terms of the drone, the MQ-9 Reaper drone, which is heavily featured. And this is his first credit. I couldn't really find any information on his background. And then finally, we have Daniel Potts, who provided armory services. And he was a former member of the Australian Army with
Nice.
deployments in Iraq, Afghanistan as well. He runs the Rifleman's Armory, which he set up in 2018. His credits include The Crater, a true Vietnam War story from 2015, Occupation from 2018, Battalion of the same year. They're both like military sci-fi movies. And then he's done lots of small movie and TV work in Australia.
Very nice. Yeah. Anything on budget?
Budget, yeah, we have a budget of 18.7 million, which isn't bad at all.
No,
And
very small for a film like this.
yeah, it is. And considering it only had a limited release in January, February this year, before it moved on to the streaming platforms, it made 6.5 million in the US, which isn't bad for a
Not
limited
shocking.
release.
It's not shocking.
That's half of its budget back.
Yeah.
So
you'd want
it
about
must
40, 50 to be all right. Yeah. No, that's not bad. And it's currently on Prime in the UK. So I assume it's on Prime in America. It's very easy to watch and find this one this week.
And this week, for a change of pace, I have the review, and it comes from The Guardian. And this is a review that was published on the 1st of May. So it's a very new review. And it's Land of Bad. Russell Crowe marches in an explosive action thriller. And Rob, this got 3 stars out of 5. Which
Blimey.
is bloody high praise for The Guardian because they
Yeah.
find it very difficult to give films sometimes.
They do.
This is why we don't do star ratings on the podcast.
No.
But
Because they're
anyway,
meaningless at the end of the day.
they
aren't
really
they?
are. So
Really.
reviews are subjective. We know this.
Exactly.
So I'll read you a little bit from the conclusion. This is a film that has trained us to enjoy its explosions and set pieces, but makes the outcomes seem less important, perhaps due to an attempt to turn the film into a parable about the flagging commitment of the most modern soldiers to the principles of being a good soldier. This may not be a topic close to most people's hearts, but skilled storytelling can make you care about anything. Look at The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp from 1943. What a wild off-the-dome reference for a classic that can make anyone connect with the pathos of a veteran commander grappling with a less principled army than the one he grew up with. Land of Bad beats Blimp to stunt. Go again. Land of Bad beats Blimp on stunt work, though, so that's a plus.
I mean, yeah, obviously.
Is that what you take away from Life and Death of Colonel Blimp?
Should have been more
Probably not.
explosions.
Yeah, should have been more explosions, and he was grappling with the fact the army was less principled. I didn't. Okay.
He should have beat that Home Guard member to a bloody pulp for not starting war at midnight.
But yeah, isn't that an unusual review?
A little bit. I mean, I read a few reviews after I watched the movie, and it was kind of, it was like a general consensus of kind of, yes, it's okay, you know, like a lot of praise for Crowe, which is nice to see. But yeah, I mean, that's a very out there review, but I think it's fair to a point. I don't agree with all of it.
They're almost basing their conclusion there on that one conversation.
Yeah, and it's a very, very small conversation.
Yeah, and it doesn't. That
Yeah.
isn't the crux of the film.
It's not. No, I mean, I don't think there really is a crux, is there? Hmm.
No.
Anyway, so what did you guys think? As always, we ask for your one-word reviews, and let me get them up. I'm going to leave this in. We do search the one-word reviews up live most weeks. Where the heck is it? There it is. So, one-word reviews. We had about 20 odd replies, which is quite good because this movie came out literally weeks ago. Over here. So Paul Hicks says fearful after watching the trailer. Ian McClellan goes with tiresome. Brian Williams bombed. Mark Barnes daft. Will says Reaper. Brad Holloway says Hollyoaks ? Tom McCready explosive. Johnny Doyle load of bad. Very good. He did put it as one word. Major Sharp went just put 6 out of 10. I guess that's one word, I guess. In a way, no, probably not. Simon Gibbons goes with sound. Little Big Worlds goes vegan, capital letters. The Wargamers Forum goes with Bat21, and Ian Greenfield rounds us off this week with entertaining. So a mixed bag.
Very mixed bag.
You know, as you'll probably be aware, I don't think this movie's terrible, but I don't think it's great either. So into the alley tally.
This is 5 to Alpha. Contact now. Agreed. 852-676. Approximately 4 tanks, 10 APCs moving directly towards the wood. I'm observing, over.
Hello, Sunray. Fighting on Film has partnered up with warfaremedia.net to give our listeners exclusive discounts on a range of high-resolution Cold War adverts, propaganda, and recruitment posters. From blowpipes to nuclear threats to weapon schematics, Warfare Media has you covered. Visit warfaremedia.net today and use the code FOF20 at checkout for 20% off high-quality Cold War posters. I repeat, FOF20 at checkout. Over.
Roger, out to you, and take action now. Send us SIP rep as soon as possible. Over.
It's time for Alley Tally on Fighting on Film.
Rob, do you want to lead us off this week?
Fruit Loops.
Fruit Loops.
Fruit Loops and
Frosted Flakes.
Frosty Flakes, yeah. Which is and 511 tactical gloves mentioned literally 3 minutes
With the
in.
mesh. With the Kevlar
With the
mesh.
They're new, they're lovely, yeah. You hear
Yeah.
that, all your airsofters and tactical gear loving fans at the moment. Like it's almost like Alan Partridge with chocolate oranges are available from Rawlinson's. It's so telegraphed. Like it's like 12 strong when it does the Carhartt placement, product placement, but worse because they actually name check a brand. So I guess 511 paid a little bit to get that in there.
Maybe. What did you get for one 511 mention?
Free gloves for everyone on set.
What did Fruit Loops get? What did you get for Fruit Loops?
Kellogg's got the big bag.
Yeah.
Well,
I think it would have been funny if he'd actually, like, when he rolls down the cliff and he's in the water. It would have been funny if, like, when he's like going to pull his Beretta, like a packet of Fruit Loops like fell out of his.
That would have been good. Like, and they all like float off. That would have been quite good. Yeah. Or he could have been hiding in with his holding his breath in a big bit of water, and like all the Fruit Loops bobble up to the top, and some rebels
he's hidden in a bush and he's just like slowly eating dry Fruit Loops.
Yeah, that would have been good. No, but I thought I'd just get that in there. There's obviously a lot more in the alley tally this week, but it was just a bit of a shock to the senses. Cereal brands being name checked, and then a major tactical wear company.
I actually liked the scene in the helicopter when they're doing the.
That was quite good.
When they're
quite
on the way. It was a good scene. Like,
reminded me of the start of The Outpost.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. There's lots of kind of almost familiar bits with this film in terms of the way they approach things. I think talk about that in final thoughts. In terms of Ali this week, plenty of interesting stuff. He's got the 338 Barrett MRAD, the Mark 22 mod.
I wonder what
advanced
that was.
sniper rifle, Bishop. He's got what else have we got? We've the JTAC himself had the NM4 with an EOTech sight. And then later on, he pulls out a very Gucci pair of L3 Harris night vision goggles. They're like quad nods, and they're very expensive.
Very cool. Yeah.
So he was lucky to get those and use them only once and not
This is
put
a
them on.
very like war bro-y type guys, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know, they got the caps on, they got their sleeves rolled up, they got tattoos. You know, they're very sort of
They're very,
bros,
they're very much
tactical. Would you say that?
tactical, Global War on Terror era Delta
Yeah,
Force operator type
yeah.
dudes.
But then they're quite generic with it as well. Like it's
Yeah.
a bit of a weird thing.
They are.
Yeah.
416 HK 416s. I think I never couldn't really get a good look at
Mm.
the rifles because they move and
And there aren't many steals knocking around from this
there
either.
aren't, there aren't.
Um,
But what they've got like the Geisley rail, or one's got like a quad rail on there. What else is in there? I got to give a shout out to Russel Crowe wearing that weird like US Air Force like flight suit that's been cut off into a half like a shacket
yeah, I like
type
that.
deal
Yeah.
over the top of a Hawaiian shirt.
It's great. It's great. Well, it does for his character, doesn't it? It doesn't matter
And on the
because he's in a
Hawaiian
room.
shirt, he has like rank badges as
It's
well.
great. It adds
He's
so
got
much
all
to
in.
him. He's so interesting. I like it.
There's no way that would be authorized, but
He's Reaper, man.
He's
He
a-
does what
he's a-
he could have been a
he's a-
pilot,
he's-
man.
he's a maverick.
He's a walking cliche. His wife's pregnant.
I like the water bottle he makes out the antenna he makes out of the water bottle.
That's
towards
cool.
the
I
end.
did like
It was
that. Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Um,
I've got a couple of things. I've got Liam Hemsworth uses a lovely captured SKS with a crane stock on it and an AK mag.
does. Yeah.
When it's been painted up like red and the magazine's painted up. That's really cool because you don't see SKSs much in anything.
No, there's
really.
there's wooden stocked SKSs. The guy he shoots with the pistol when he falls into the river has an SKS with a wooden stock with the
Yeah.
AK magazine.
It's cool, isn't it? And I
yeah.
like that some of the rebels had like old M16A1s, which is nice to see.
Philippines, man.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, exactly.
they're all the kind of things that would be available.
Yeah, I like the sort of mixture of civilian-y sort of militarized uniforms that the rebels had too. They look quite believable as an enemy force, like an up for in this situation.
Yeah, I've never really looked into Abu Saif, which
I haven't
is
really. No.
sort of like East Asia ISIS.
Yeah. They're like the
but,
Asian like sort of offshoot, aren't they? Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. But the technicals, the Toyota technicals were cool with the M2 Brownings on.
Yeah, really nice.
There was an old Land Cruiser in there as well, which was a nice
nice
addition.
to see it.
What else was it? Oh, there was that Black Hawk that was actually a Huey.
Yeah, that was interesting, wasn't it?
The Black Hawk's coming in now. Get to the landing zone to get exfil, and it like they cut to the FX shots of it hovering.
It's not as bad as the gunship in Guy Ritchie's movie that came out like a few months ago. It's not as bad as that. I like the drone CG with the Hellfire missiles on it.
That was very good.
CG is decent in this. I'll give it that, and it doesn't overuse it either. As well, I think just enough. Do you want my behind enemy lines extraction trope tally?
What a stupid question to ask. Of course I do.
Of course you do. Right.
Of course.
So I have them in bullet points.
Okay.
So kicking off the trope tally, we have raw soldier being put in with a team of veteran operators.
Oof, yeah.
Mission goes bad with a MacGuffin objective, rescue an embedded CIA agent that has little importance to the plot, if at all.
And when he's introduced, you go, "Who's that guy?
Who's he?" Yeah, we haven't seen this
to the
man
point
ever
where
in our
the
life.
lead character even goes, "Who's this guy?"
Then we have gruff older servicemen being the eyes for the team, i.e., Danny Glover in Bat 21. Then we have one man separated from the rest of his unit being guided by the eyes in the sky. Captured, then immediately broken out of captivity, only to be captured again. Big bad killed in a flurry of violent emotion.
Very much so.
Yeah. We also have villain monologuing to a captured soldier.
Ooh.
Yeah.
During a torture sequence.
During a torture sequence. Yeah, we have a torture sequence tally as well. Lots of slow motion explosions. And the last one I got was aborted airstrike that could kill our men on the ground.
Yeah.
Danger close.
Um,
Yeah.
Danger Close. I've got a couple more to add to that. I've got Pregnant Wife.
Hmm.
I got Pregnant Wife.
But I had that under family issues, but I think I
Okay.
might have deleted it by
That's
mistake.
fair. That's fair. And then we've got Pillow Silencer,
Yeah.
which that's not how that works, but
Oh, and
okay.
we also have friendly forces breaking someone out, but wearing enemy clothing to blend in for a bit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we have that as
Hoodie
well.
in this
And
case, yeah.
yeah, captured enemy weapons as well. That's another trope. But
Mhm.
then again, we could do a trope tally for every single episode of the show, but we don't do it very often.
Yeah.
It's just when they're so
Just
telegraphed.
when there's a lot of them, more
Because
than
this
5.
movie, it's like they had a brochure on cliches and they were like ticking them off as they went along a bit. But no, for me, like the alley this week's, it's fine. Again, there's nothing bad here.
Yeah.
It's competent. Like there's nothing remarkable really. Like, there's nothing you go, oh wow, they got that in there. It just is what it is. So maybe we could just get into favorite scenes.
Let's do it.
Cool.
So my favorite scene is when Russell Crowe organizes the squadron's coffee pods in the cupboard.
That was cool. We've both chosen Crow moments, haven't we?
Of course we have.
I think we have.
I like that because it was
this film, folks. Can you not tell?
I like that. It was a good introduction.
Yeah. You do the
character.
Keurig machine lights.
Yeah.
Doing all that. Yeah.
But more seriously, I quite liked the nighttime LZ firefight. That was quite
Pretty
nicely
decent.
done.
Yeah.
The CGI was good. Practical stuff was good in it. It felt kinetic. It felt dynamic. It was well shot. It was good. I like that. I mean,
decent tension in that start, like the bit with when it all kicks off. The tension's not bad there.
For me, I would have been happy if the film had ended without the whole he gets captured, gets released, gets captured thing. If it had ended with him just like a couple more firefights along the way, complicating factor, whatever's needed. But you don't need the whole like getting back in the camp and we're going in with captured weapons.
I always felt like they were going to be fine.
Yeah.
I was always like that. Nothing's going to happen to these lads.
Yeah.
They're too good looking.
Well, he does die in the end, but spoilers. But
oh no. Oops.
Not Liam, Luke.
The lad from Dream Team gets killed. No.
No, he survives.
Does he? Oh yeah, of course he does. Yeah. I thought he got shot. Oh, it's the other one that gets shot.
He does get shot, but they all get shot at least once.
They do all get shot. Yeah. Is that literally your favourite scene? Him doing the coffee pots?
Yeah, definitely is.
Amazing. So I've got a couple. I like the use
because I know what yours is going to be.
Yeah, I'll get to it.
I can't choose yours, so I have to choose the next best thing.
I'll get to it. I like using the March Madness like basketball game, and all the lads
which went on for like 11 hours.
Oh my gosh, the longest.
That's the longest basketball
40-minute basketball game
ever.
But then again, it's Final Four. They could have watched 2 games in one day, I guess.
Maybe. Still,
it's
a couple of hours between them, maybe. But yeah.
Yeah, because for the uninitiated, March Madness is the end of the NCAA basketball season, and it is a load of games all in March, hence March Madness. And then it culminates with a Final Four, and that's a playoff, and then someone wins. So it for like Americans, college like sports is like the second to professional NFL, NBA. For the listeners who might not know, that's why they're watching a college sports game. Just to sort of explain that if it needed to be explained.
Sports context with Rob.
Oh God, yeah, it's got to be done. But I like using that because it shows the sort of the mundanity of life on a base like that, like in current times.
I liked the fact that they showed us a fictionalized version of the ins and outs of a drone squadron. So I was quite cool.
I quite like that. Yeah, it was quite good. So yeah, getting on to my actual favourite scene. So after he's pulled off the mission, Crowe, well, he's not pulled off, he's like replaced. There's another shift essentially coming on.
Been on there
a long time.
Like 10 hours over his 8-hour shift.
He needs a break. So it kind of goes against tropiness where it's like he's not being pulled off because he's done something he shouldn't have.
Yeah.
He's just being pulled off because of rules and regs. So I quite like that. So then after he's pulled out the mission, he goes to do some food shopping for his pregnant wife. And it really just juxtaposes the movie at that point. You get these really like sort of mundane sequence of him just going down the aisle, sticking stuff in his trolley, looking at messages from his wife. There's a funny segment where he explains a really obscure vegan cheese like product to the man at the deli counter. He goes, "Oh yeah, we got it right here." And he turns around and he goes, "I'd bet money on you not having that." And this is Crow just having fun. He clearly is enjoying these moments.
Putting his specs onto relabels.
Yeah. It does a lot for his
encounters
character.
with the public.
He gets 100 times more characterization than anyone in this movie.
Oh God, yeah. Like Hemsworth's character, all we know about him is he's been home and he's had the shits. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, and he likes cereal.
And he likes basketball.
Yeah, exactly.
Possibly.
These men are hollow. Like the Delta Force members are so hollow, which is a shame. But yeah, like that's interesting because obviously the guys are at that point they're captured and they've shot a missile at them and it's going to hit them if he doesn't go and stop it because they contact him because of the basketball game. The message doesn't get through. They go, I need to talk to XYZ commander right now. It's so important. He goes, "Oh yeah, get him on the other line," and he like puts the phone down so he can watch the basketball. So there is a bit of tension there, but I thought it was ballsy to just take your main star not lead, but your biggest name in the movie completely out of the realm of militariness and have him just do mundane shopping.
Yeah.
I just thought it was really interesting.
It is. It's cool to take him and put him into a mundane situation juxtaposed against the most tense part, what is supposed to be the most tense part of the film.
Yeah, I like it. It's good. Just fun little Russell Crowe moments, which, if anything, this film has given us that. So yeah, final thoughts?
I feel like the film reaches. I feel like it reaches for something, but it doesn't quite hit. You know what I mean? It's like a mashup of Lone Survivor, Behind Enemy Lines, Bat 21.
I've literally got that down in my notes, word for word.
Yeah, but with a really dark final act because it just so clearly is.
Yeah,
down to sequences of him like falling down stony cliffs, losing his rifle, getting captured, getting beaten up, and all this kind of stuff, and
having to be told what's ahead of him by someone in the sky.
Yeah. It's all it's all there. The one thing to me that is kind of mentioned in that Guardian review we read earlier, and that we mentioned as well, is that conversation where he talks about the brutality of war.
Yes.
And like the JTAC guy, he says, Hemsworth says that he thinks drones take the barbarity out of war. But the Delta sergeant is like, no. Do you think war's any less barbaric, whether it's you pulling the trigger or drone operator pulling the trigger, or it's me going in and shooting them?
It starts to say something.
It does. But I thought it was going to lean heavily into it, but it doesn't. It kind of ends it there.
No.
There's like a tiny callback to it when he makes that antenna out of the water bottle because there's a conversation after the morality element, which takes about 12 seconds. And then there's a bit of a conversation about what happens when the batteries die and your satellite link goes down and all this. And then there's a little tiny callback to that part of the conversation when he makes the antenna. Which, it works slightly, but there's no moral weight to the film. And I obviously the film doesn't aim to do that. There's other films that have done that. There's Eye in the Sky 2015 with Helen Mirren and Alan Rickman.
Good,
name escaped me almost
Kill
for a second
with
there.
Ethan Hawke as well.
There's Good Kill, with Ethan, and then there's that great Sean Bean film. What's that one called? That you sent me earlier?
Drone.
Where he's there with like a 2003
Logitech
game controller in his gaming chair. Oh my God, I love it. The film is just lacking. Like, it's very competently made. It looks good. The CGI is good. There's some good performances put in by the cast, but 98% of them have got nothing to work with.
No.
Crowe's got a little bit of backstory. He manages to force a bit of charisma and humor into it.
No one, yeah, I've got it down as well. No one has any skin in the game apart from Crow,
Yeah.
because like his wife could be called off at any moment, and then I thought that was going to be the jeopardy where the wife would go into labour or there'd be complications.
Yeah.
He'd have to come
They set
out.
that up so hard just for the
Yeah,
jeopardy to
and
be
and
him
I
at the
kind of
supermarket.
I kind of like the fact they don't do that in a way.
I do too.
Because I was so expecting it, but
And I'm also kind of happy they don't really try and force a lot of exposition into Hemsworth character as well, because
it's just I guess it's just a mission, and these
if you
guys do
fumble
that.
it really does detract from
Mm,
the film. But if you get it
yeah.
right, it lifts it. It's a kind of a gamble,
then
and they kind of played it a bit safe by not giving him too much. Although
Yeah,
he says he's been home because his father died, and he's had the shits, and he likes Fruit Loops. So
but then because of that, they all feel a bit hollow.
yeah,
Like they're not
as you
interesting.
said,
You can't
we
back
get nothing
them.
from the Delta guys.
No, we don't. And I've got that. I've got all that down. Like you said about, I've seen all this before in other movies.
Mm.
I almost, yeah, you've literally said my final thoughts in a way.
Whoops.
No, it's absolutely fine. It's interesting. We both do our notes independently, so we don't do this. But sometimes we really do feel the same way about a movie. I'm as I've said all the way through, it's land of bland. It's just it's absolutely fine. It's like eating a digestive. It's good. It'll fill you up, but it's just a digestive biscuit at the end of the day. There's no more substance there.
It needs a bit of dark chocolate on it.
Yeah, I want a milk chocolate.
Okay, you like the milk chocolate more than the
I
dark.
want a chocolate digestive. I don't want a normal digestive. To
Dark
have a
chocolate
biscuit
digestive
related
is elite
metaphor.
tier though.
They are very good.
That's the tier one of the digestive world.
Okay, well then, a normal chocolate digestive is JTAC then, I guess.
Okay, tier two. Okay, cool.
Tier two. But I've got it here. Like it's just serviceable, low budget, limited release streaming film. And I'll give it its due. It rattles through its hour and a half incredibly quickly.
It's actually an hour and 53.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't feel that way. Oh my word. It rattles through
it's paced quite well.
Paced very well. Never slogs, I must admit. It's really not the worst thing you could watch if you had a Prime account. I know we don't do star ratings, but I kind of agree with like the mid-range reviews that I've read. But I kind of wanted it, if it was going to be more cerebral, have more to say. I would have much preferred it to be. I'm not sure if anyone's done this, because Eye in the Sky is a little bit like it, but it's kind of not at the same time. But have a drone guy in the room, have Russell Crowe in the room, and see the mission on the screen. Don't go on the ground. Have it from his perspective. How does he feel about this? Yeah, kind of like that. But then that's more of a chatty, character-driven piece rather than an actual movie. So I completely understand this.
Although that has its own story driving elements, limitations of a top-down view and that kind of thing. But
there isn't enough of that, and there almost isn't enough on the ground either. Like there's no happy medium here, but it all kind of works and it's all kind of fine. And I'm benign to the movie. I think that's probably the best way of summing it up. Like I don't hate it, I don't love it. It just be a movie,
Yeah, it's a B movie with budget, one big name, competent cast, decent CGI, okay plot. Although I think, as I said earlier, we didn't really need the captured, recaptured. And then the climax with the henchman, the antagonist that we'd never met before, that we'd never been set up,
and they don't even explain what he's fighting for in the briefing and stuff. So you don't really have we don't really
know that they're ISIS in the Philippines.
No,
or
exactly.
In, that region. So it's kind of like
apart from him saying like Allahu Akbar and all that, and talking about that, it's implied, but
even that
just a
has to be
kind of guy.
Kind of introduced when he's introduced.
Yeah.
Because he isn't introduced prior to that scene, those torture scenes at all, really.
But yeah, I think that was Land of Bad 2024, available now on Amazon Prime. No affiliation, but it's on there for you to enjoy.
Do you know what we did forget in the trope tally?
Go on.
Russell Crowe being cast as a US Air Force captain when he's clearly too old and fat.
Yeah, I guess so.
Although, to the film's credit, does explain it in a piece of exposition.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's the best thing about this movie. And if you
He
enjoy
is.
Russell Crowe's work,
He is.
then I think you're going to like it. If I'm honest, if anything, watch it for Crowe.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously it's a good run up for playing Goering, I guess, because his next big role. I mean, what a jump! Yet again, it's just an okay film, and you know, there's worse ways to spend 2 hours. So as always, thanks for listening to the show. Do check out warfaremedia.net. Use the code FOF20 for a huge 20% off Cold War posters. Help the show out a lot if you use the link. And we'll catch you next week for more war movie reviews. Follow us on the socials, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.